Hey, look at me. I'm streaming on the YouTubes. Hi, everybody. Josh Foreman, professional YouTube streamer here. Look at this beautiful box. Today I'm working on an idea that I have for making rock textures. I'm going to point this out now. I'll probably point this out several times throughout the stream if other people join and want to know. Yeah, so I'm trying to make tile rock, like rocks that you could use for dioramas, wargaming, etc., that you can tile together and wrap around anything. So I'm going to be casting these guys in this kind of flexible rubbery stuff. And what I did was I made some foam rocks first. I cast them in this hydrocal, and that is phase 1. We're gonna start phase 2 tonight. So I just poured this mold this afternoon when I was streaming on Twitch on the Reaper Miniature Twitch stream. So I figure for full taste variety, I might as well demold it on a YouTube stream. Why not? It's been years since I've streamed on YouTube. I figure I might as well see what it's like. Probably like streaming on Twitch. That's my guess. Boy, this really does not want to come out. I could have used more. I used good old petroleum jelly on my the art part of it, but I could have also used it on the cardboard and stuff, and maybe that would make it so I don't have this issue. This is kind of like a really delicate unboxing video, if you think about it. Ooh, got myself. Let me check my Discord real quick and make sure that my post went live. Looks like it did not. Awesome. It's weird. My Discord was notified when I made this little stream channel, but then did not did not update when I actually started going live. You've been embedded a chisel in your hand before. Yeah, I've got lots of nice scars from similar incidents. I only vaguely drew blood. I'm fine. But yeah, it's always so easy to get mesmerized by what you're doing and just push just a little bit harder and it'll go. I'm sure of it. Actually wondering if at this point chiseling in might not give me some of these interesting rock shapes that I've got from this. Yeah, I'm trying to, I don't know what the best tool for actually breaking this stuff out is right now because the plaster like seeped under the edges on most of it. Makes it kind of tricky. It's like, let's see, so this is about this shape. I guess I can maybe use this as a guide to get me started. That might help make me a little more confident in where I'm trying to break this thing out of. Message my mod real quick. Streaming on a new thing. It seems like it should be so straightforward, but there's always a million things that I find that I just hadn't thought about. Boom, message sent. The other tricky thing is I'm trying not to, I've got these areas that where it rises up and I don't want to break those off. But it's hard to tell where they are because of the darn cardboard. Darn cardboard. Okay. That's not so bad. But yeah, I kind of wonder, like, this is an experiment. I think I'm going to do a little chisel lines here and there. See how that ends up looking when it's, you know, reversed and it is a positive instead of a negative. Fizz has arrived. All right. Now I got to figure out how to mod the fizz. Paul, hello from Seattle. How's Iowa these days? It's been a while since I've been there. All right. Modern day deity. Hope things are going well for you. Huh, I do not see an option on here when I can't just click. Oh, wait, there's little dots. I see dots. Okay. I could put you in a timeout. Would that help? Add as moderator. Let's try that instead. Can manage blocked words. Oh, managing moderator. There we go. Okay. Muggy and hot. Ew. You know, this is one of the things I really like about the Pacific Northwest is it is very rarely humid. Humidity is one of those things I just do everything I can to avoid. Let's put it that way. Do not like feeling sticky and wet. Whether it's hot humidity or cold humidity, either way, it's not fun. It's actually been really nice here. It's been sort of low 70s and nice little cool breeze most of the time, but not a frigid wind like we were having last month. %. Oh my God. That's no good. You're in the center of Washington. You're dry, hot, and humid too. I was just out there a couple days ago, actually, on what's the river that runs through Ellensburg? Is it literally the Yakima River? I think it may be the Yakima River. Got some really nice pictures out there. In Wenatchee? Okay. So you're north, whereas I was going south of Ellensburg. Wenatchee is like northeast of Ellensburg, right? My wife spent most of her childhood in Moses Lake. So we used to visit there every year for quite a many years. I think I've only been to Wenatchee once. And it was a short trip. I think because my wife got really ill. Probably nothing to do with, you know, actually being at the lake there, but haven't been back since, so I don't know. 2 out of 5 stars, Wenatchee. kind of like leaving a review for a product where you give it a low score because of the shipping or something. It's so much like digging up a fossil. It's just hard to tell what is the area I'm trying to excavate and what is not. You take all your shepherds to the lake? Are you talking about dogs, or are you talking about people whose job it is to keep sheep? The German kind, all right. Are they big swimmers? They love hopping in the water? Something about dogs enjoying water. It's just such a wholesome, fun thing. I just realized I don't see anywhere that tells me how many viewers I have. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's very subtle. If you happen to be here and you have not hit the like button, do me a favor and smash that like button so that other people can be notified. Just want to see if streaming on YouTube is a worthwhile endeavor or not. I tried it many years ago. It was before they had the super chat feature, so it's like choosing between this and Twitch. It's a pretty easy choice back then. But I've also recently seen YouTubers who have far fewer subs than I do, like making bank on the super chat. But it could be because they're just cooler than me. How many German Shepherds do you have? For some reason, I'm imagining it, you know, my headcanon for you is that you've got like 20 German Shepherds and they're all just like jumping into this huge lake, swimming around with their tongues out, having a grand old time. So don't contradict my headcanon. 20 German Shepherds, that's what you got. My stream looks cleaner than on Twitch. Oh yeah? That's cool. I mean, look at this beautiful, clean area here. Don't want to miss every little detail. Bless this mess. Only 12 and 1 Doberman. Oh my goodness. A little less messed with. Man, these rocks are just like absolutely obliterated as I pull them out of the mold. It's a good thing I don't need them anymore, he said with utmost confidence. Movements are smoother? Okay. Interesting. I don't recognize you from Twitch. Do you go by another name on Twitch, or are you just a lurker type? Or are you comparing in general to other Twitch streams? Lurker and mostly YouTube watcher? Okay. Cool, cool. Oh, that reminds me. If anyone is here that is not a subscriber of mine, can you like just say here or let me know that? I would love to, because I have no idea how the YouTube algorithm works with streaming. Like, I don't know if it's recommending this stream based on tags or if it's only alerting my subscribers. It'd be nice to know these things. I'm guessing it's only a subscriber thing, but you have a 3,900 square foot house. Ooh, go Illinois. 2 acres of land for all our boys. Wow. So you're like the farm that parents tell their kids their dogs have gone to, huh? Well, thank you for your service. It's great that you're doing kindness to animals like that. Rarely have time for streams. Well, yeah, sure. That makes sense. It's funny, like, there are people that literally watch streams all day. Like, they don't watch TV, they don't play games, they just watch streams all day. Or, you know, but that is their entertainment diet, I should say. It's not that they don't work or don't sleep or don't eat or whatever, but like, if they're watching something, it's going to be a stream. You know, and then there's people who own, like, if they're on a screen, they're always on TikTok or you know, Instagram or whatever. So there are other people who only watch cable news. That's the strangest demographic. I don't know how those people, like they're aliens to me. So yeah, I'm not sure how many people on YouTube are inclined to watch streams. And out of those who are, like, how many people who are interested in creative projects are, as opposed to, I don't know, whatever other people stream, like react videos or debates or whatever. Big dog room. Wow, I finished converting my downstairs into a giant diorama room, so I need to unconvert it soon because my in-laws, we're going to have an in-law shelter instead of a dog shelter in our downstairs. Haven't watched TV in 3 years. Yeah, I watch a lot of YouTube now. Usually like on a tablet in bed when I go to bed, and it's a nice way to relax. I have like a class of videos that I'm interested in, that I start with, and then I have a class of videos that it's either stuff that's interesting to me but I've already seen, or it's like just barely interesting enough. It has to be in this perfect space where it keeps my brain occupied enough not to okay, because here's my problem is I have creative insomnia almost all the time. Like, I will just think about the next plans on projects, think of new projects, etc., whenever I try to go to sleep. So I need a video that keeps my brain occupied enough to not do that, but not so occupied that it keeps me awake. So good things for that is like lectures, like I'll have a geology lecture on, or like a history lecture. Sometimes like commentary, but it has to be commentary about something that I'm not like super fascinated by, only mildly interested in. Hey, Ozon. That's my best guess at a correct me, give me a better way to say your name. Watch my vids daily. Oh, therapeutic, you say. Thank you for joining from Turkey. Ozon, I nailed it? Oh my god. Turkey is literally my #1 dream the vacation destination, because you guys have the most amazing mix of like historical archaeology and super interesting geology, and the amazing mix of geology and archaeology with all those like there's that cave complex at like underground city, and then there's all those places where houses are carved into the tuft, like really interesting rock shapes and stuff. I don't know. That's definitely where I want to go if I could ever travel internationally. Sadly, haven't been able to do that in many decades. What part of Turkey do you live in, Ozan? Okay. So yeah, this is basically like two sides of the same rock thing. And the idea is I'm gonna press clay into each of these. After that's set, break it out. I have to destroy these molds to get it out, but that's fine. But then I will have two halves that I can sandwich together to make one of these. So I've made 3 of these so far, and the mistake that I made was thinking that from the ground up, like they should all meet at ground level essentially. However, oh my god, it's so hard to find them. Okay, yeah. However, the problem that I was running into is often you have to flip these upside down to get the match you want. Now, watch, I'm not going to be able to find a match. There, okay, right? But that means I have to either have them moved like, up or down to get the matching point. And what I realized is, oh, I should just always have the matching point be exactly halfway. And that way, no matter how you flip them, whatever orientation, they will always meet up seamlessly right in the middle. So you could lay them over whatever surface you want. By the way, for anyone who missed it, this is ultimately what I'm trying to do is cast these, mold and cast these into this kind of flexible urethane that can be put on any kind of surface. So you can make rocks or cliffs or whatever easily. That's the idea. You live in Istanbul. Yeah, it doesn't like half the country live there. Been following me since Guild Wars 2 SAB days. It's been a hot minute, hasn't it? 2000, was it 12 or 13 when that came out? Probably 13. So it's been a decade. I was thinking of streaming Super Adventure Box and Guild Wars in general next year when the new Super Adventure Box content gets released. Jamie, I am generally doing art when I'm not at work. I try to make time for games whenever I can. I'm slowly getting through Horizon Forbidden West right now. Just kind of painful because the new Zelda just came out, and I really want to be playing that now, but I don't know if I could handle just like giving up on Horizon. And then every morning I play, on my little tablet, I play some kind of roguelike that wakes me up real fast. I got back into Dead Cells recently, so I've been playing a lot of that. But yeah, that's really about it on the game side. I would love to play more. I recently got through Elden Ring 1.5 times. Yeah, sometimes I stream that on Twitch. Whenever I'm playing Horizon, I stream on Twitch. But that only seems to happen once every week or so. Okay, so I think this is good. I'm going to set this aside, and now we've got a bigger one. So this set right here is designed to be able to go together. Any side can meet any side in any direction, right? And then when you put 4 of them together, you get an interesting shape, which is what's buried in here. I'm about to pull out. Oh, Jamie, I realized you said, do I do game art stuff outside of work? No, most of my time is being funneled towards either working directly or indirectly towards making my fantasy novel, which eventually I want to be TV shows and, eventually games too. So that's the kind of stuff I work on, because these are like super heavily illustrated. I say as I skip through a bunch of pages that have no illustrations. Yeah, there's about 70 illustrations in each of these books, and so I spend a lot of time. I'm currently in the process of editing and making the illustrations for the third of the trilogy of these books, which are available on Amazon today. They've got great reviews. You should check them out. The Scarred King. Look it up. Haven't played a game since Call of Duty World at War. Mm. I think one of my coworkers worked on that one. Came out a bit easier. It was like just the right amount of stuck in there-ness. Stuckosity. Must be a tape. Okay, yeah, there's tape. Wait, is there? So maybe it just ripped off in certain places? Very confused by what I'm seeing and feeling here. Master of plaster. You have a problem mixing the plaster wrong? God, I am so sloppy with my mixing. I don't measure, I don't... Like, it just doesn't seem to ever be a problem for me. So yeah, master plaster. Confirmed. I have a spiritual connection with the hydrocal. What is this doing? Is this going out like that? I know how to find out. Put this here. And this here. Okay, it's going like that. So has anyone seen anything cool recently? We recently finished Picard Season 3, which I think was satisfying, unlike the other Picard seasons that I've seen. What else did we finish? Oh, we've been watching Ted Lasso. Always a delight. And I've been reading through the graphic novel called Department of Truth, and that's pretty good. I did just get to the end of the Sasquatch arc, or whatever. It did not end how I expected, I have to say. I like how it subverted my expectations, as the kids say. D&D movie was fine. Yeah, I'm keeping my expectations right there. I'm hoping that it'll be fine. I have not seen a movie in theaters since COVID started because my wife is particularly prone to being hardcore damaged by it. Whoa, just got a piece right up my nose. So yeah, we don't go out. So I have to see all my movies like 3 to 6 months late. I still have maybe trauma from the last Dungeons and Dragons movie. That was really something. I think it was Jeremy Irons was the bad guy, and one of the Wayans brothers was like a comic relief, and it just like made no sense. Nothing about it made any sense. So if it's better than that, I'll be happy. It's not going to take a lot. Shepard Payne's How to Make Dioramas. I think I have that one. What is on the cover of that book? I got one that's got like a watermill kind of thing. One that's got like, I think, an army jeep on a bridge or something. It's been a while since I've looked through those. I should revisit. Thanks for the reminder. It's interesting to think how much the craft of diorama has changed with 3D printing, and also like this stuff, this XPS foam. Like, I know people have been using it for a long time, but I had never seen anything about it until, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. Anything rock related was always like, use that same set of rock molds that Scenics whatever has has been selling for the past 50 years. And I got so tired of that, that's what led me to investigate other things, and found out that, man, I actually really love making my own rocks. There's a fan-made D&D movie, and kind of also includes Magic the Gathering. Yeah, I pretty much prefer home too. I mean, it's still nice to, like when family is visiting or whatever, to have that sort of a, you know, outing. You go out and do a thing, and it just feels a little more special, you know. Is it worth like $60 to do that though? No, not really. I do miss movie theater over buttered popcorn. I know, Fizz, you don't miss it, but I do. What was the last thing? I think the last thing I saw in the theaters was the last Star Wars movie. Way to go out on a whipper. I guess it was kind of a bang, but also a whimper. It was a banging whimper. The gamers. Okay. Paul started making rocks with tin foil and flocking with sawdust back in the early 80s. Yeah, I remember that. Flow quill paint. My first like serious attempt at making diorama was in the, let's see, mid 90s. And yeah, I remember that. I mean, you just reminded me. I forgot about the sawdust flocking thing. I definitely have seen a lot of tinfoil rock walls. I like that, you know, I keep a little bit of the flavor by just having a foil ball that I can roll in and make a little bit of that minor rocky texture on an already like a more detailed carved piece like so. Now, Paul, were you making dioramas for trains or wargaming, or I'm guessing if it was 80s, it probably wasn't wargaming. That wasn't much of a thing back then. At least not to the extent it is now. Military dioramas is the other, probably the second biggest thing after trains. And then would come like museum dioramas, right? Which I've always been a fan of. It's really cool seeing the YouTube channel Mini Bricks getting into professional, like, museum dioramas. My hope is to start making dioramas for my world that I've been working on and travel to conventions with a sort of a traveling museum of Tales from Talifar, my series. You still use sawdust for flocking? Hey, you know, if it works, it works. It's definitely a lot cheaper than some of the flocking alternatives out there. You just don't see a lot of it. You're doing mostly military models? Okay. What era? World War II, I assume? That's like, what, 90% of military modelers and dioramicists do? How did the end of the Bigfoot story make me feel? Um, well, I guess surprised. Um, but what is that word when it's like, it's kind of like a heartfelt sort of, I mean, it was good catharsis in a way. But it was the kind of catharsis that still leaves you like hanging a little bit. So, you know, it's not a complete feel good story, but it also like gives you just enough to achieve some amount of catharsis, which I think is a nice subtle mix, a melange of feelings, as it were. I'm wondering if some of these finer lines that I ended up with here are because of the heat that I was from the flame that I was putting over. Like these are honestly probably a little too narrow and thin, like they're gonna break out of the mold real fast. But that's okay, it's easy to widen them once I get them to the next stage. So the letter is written from the hunter that they find at the end, right? That's that guy's sort of life story. I mean, I kind of figured that pretty soon after they showed him off in the distance. But I figured it would end more tragically than that. Or maybe it was tragic and I just didn't pick up on how it was tragic. That's possible. A Zaku 2 into a German diorama. I do not know what a Zaku 2 is. Is that a military vehicle of some sort? Also, I hope you are aware and subscribe to oh shoot, Laser Cut World. Suddenly, I can't think of the right name. I believe also a German dioramicist who does a lot of really good World War II dioramas. Laser Creation World? I think that might be it. Oh, it's a Gundam. Okay. Well, hunter in the sense that, I mean, he keeps using the word hunt. He tells his son that he hopes he'll be successful in whatever he's hunting, that he finds meaning and purpose in hunting something. I know this because reading that kind of sent me off on a little thought tangent of like, it's interesting to think about the metaphors that we use to describe our passions and goals in life, right? Because I would never use hunt as a metaphor for what I'm trying to accomplish with my life. You know, it would always be about, you know, building something or I'm trying to think what other metaphors I might use. I think building is like just so secondhand nature to me. That's how I would describe my goals in life. But I thought, like, what if your controlling narrative was about hunting a thing? You know, what does that do to you psychologically? Dottie Burke. Well, howdy. It's been so long since I've heard from you. How are things? Yeah, well, this is my first time streaming on YouTube in like 5 years. So I've been streaming on Twitch all that time. Been enjoying watching your painting skills progress. Been enjoying watching your son shredding on his guitar. My son has also been kind of shredding on a guitar lately. I try not to get too hung up on the details here because this is really just to get the rough shape in place. But on the other hand, like I guess the closer it is to, you know, kind of being there, being done, maybe the less work I have to do on the, you know, when it's in this stage of development. Has he done any more music videos? Not recently. He finished a song just last week where I did some guest vocals. He he needed someone to scream like a maniac. I was like, oh yeah, I'm pretty good at that. Oh, that reminds me. One thing I wanted to check, Fizz, was if the commands work to make sounds in YouTube. I assume not. I think it's only looking at Twitch, but I wonder if that's something I can adjust and get it to look at both. Like, it'd be really cool if we could hook it up so, like, you had to super chat. Well, not you, obviously, because I need my mod to be able to do it. Yeah, I didn't think so. rock number 2 done. Oh, it's beautiful. Smash it over my head. Oh, that would be pretty epic. Definitely feel like a lot of people would be really impressed with that. That and that. Really beautiful mess I'm making here. I'd really like to just skip through this part and get to the part where I'm testing the final product here so I can get on to the next step, which is to try to figure out my paper embossing machine that is still sitting in its box. Which then reminds me of the vacuum form machine that I kickstarted and was apparently all a scam. And now I feel bad. Really want to see what I can do with vacuum forming. Yep, buy new toys, just leave them in the box. That's my style. What's ironic is all the toys that I have bought that are worth anything now, I took out of the box and most of them are destroyed. I still have all my McFarlane toys going back into the mid-90s, so, but they are out of their box. So not worth as much. I don't even know. I've never checked. Are old McFarlane toys worth anything? Old Mattel vacuum former that you still use to this day. Is it the little one that you can make cars, little like matchbox sized cars with? So I had one of those and I kept thinking I could definitely figure out a way to use this. But really what it, like, if I'm gonna go vacuum former, I want at least like 12 inch by 12 inch or 2 feet by 2 feet. And that's when you start getting into industrial scale and cost, which is pretty much what this Kickstarter vacuum former promised, but it was only like $350, which I was like on the fence about. Is that too good to be true? It's probably too good to be true. But then, like, you see how so many 3D printers have come down in price, and when you think about the actual like elements involved in a vacuum former, it's not a, like, I could see a way to make it profitable if you had the right engineering and access to parts and stuff, because it's not a complicated machine. It's got like 2 moving parts and a vacuum pump and a heating element, you know. In theory, I should be able to build my own, but I just know if I tried doing that, I would end up spending a year and a half on it. I guess one thing I could do is see if there's any co-op builder space around here that has a nice large vacuum former. That way I could like test my theories. Elijah, you were you part of that same Kickstarter where they started posting like 20 times a day, all sorts of cryptic messages about different people getting kicked off of the project or whatever, and then like quoting Bible verses? And yeah, I was like, wow, this is not cool. Not cool. Yeah, it's kind of shocking to me that Kickstarter doesn't have like a policy in place to sort of quickly handle that sort of thing. I mean, obviously people have been scamming on Kickstarter since the beginning. I guess Kickstarter's policy is just buyer beware. If you get scammed, it's your own dang fault. And it's extra complicated because it got all the way to the point where you were paying for like additional items and shipping and stuff through like some other website I had never heard of, but seemed legit. So like I have another couple $100 in there that I assume I'm probably not getting back either. And it's so hard to tell if it was one of those things where it was a purposeful scam to begin with, or if it's something that just kind of like fell apart because of who knows what various reasons things like that fall apart. You know, the manufacturer didn't come through or went out of business or whatever. You're gonna build your own with the shop vac? Yeah. Yeah, I watched a couple of videos of DIY, and it seemed like the amount of like fiddling and futzing to get it to work right was just like all red flags for me. Like, I really want to spend my time making art, not futzing with hardware. A lot of people like futzing with hardware. That's why there's so many 3D printers out there that are like terrible, but you know, have to require just constant tinkering to keep them working, and like they're still highly rated and lots of people use them. But yeah, tinkering is not my thing. I just want to make it an art. That's what I want to focus on. Builder by nature, artist by requirement. Yeah. You made your on your breaks and lunches. Oh, okay. Hey, Bill Holly. I am digging on a mold that I made of a now destroyed XPS foam rock form. I'm trying to make this kind of texture that I can apply on scenery for, you know, dioramas, wargaming, whatever, in a variety of different tiling shapes. And so this particular one is 4 of these shapes kind of glommed together. And then I'm going to, after I cast them in this air dry epoxy clay, I do more carving and shaping on it, and then I'm going to mold and cast that into a nice flexible foam kind of thing. Hoping to actually, speaking of Kickstarter, end up with a product that I can kickstart. Basically a set of texturing sheets, like, yeah, a variety of things, from just embossed paper sheets all the way up through like fully 3D, like these things that you can, you know, basically build stuff out of cardboard or whatever you want, and then just hot glue these things to them. Trying to hit that, like, there's a demographic of people out there that are, you know, creative, but they don't quite have the art skills or knowledge or time or space or budget or whatever to, you know, make all their own stuff. So I thought there's potential for some kind of a product that people buy that is a shortcut for that sort of thing, you know? Making brick sucks? Yes. Exactly. So if you could just buy this sheet, yeah, this particular one, I don't think there's a way to make it commercially viable because the amount of material, you know, resin is so expensive. Even this foamy Philly stuff, it's still probably too much. But yeah, so I'm trying to figure out ways to get the cost down to where it is commercially viable. Like, I've got this set of tiles that I've been working on, you know, tiling hex grid. I've got 8 different textures of different amounts of destruction on them. And so trying to figure out, like, okay, how do I minimize the amount of resin that goes into these things? Now, I could cast them in something cheap like plaster, and that may be something that I end up investigating, but yeah, I really like the idea of things that are just flexible, that can go over any kind of surface. Yeah. we'll see. We'll see. I'm still in the R&D phase. Thanks, Elijah. You'd back that, Bill? Sweet. Yeah, if I find a way to make this viable, I'll be doing a Kickstarter and definitely announcing it here on YouTube, and be making a bunch of videos about all the different creative ways that could be used. Vacuum form styrene. Yeah, exactly. That's why I want a vacuum form machine, is to is to try that out. Like, you can't quite get the amount of like super crisp detail that you can get with, you know, molding and casting, obviously. But for there's all sorts of things that, you know, it doesn't need to be that crisp, and you know, if it can be done cheaper, I would love to basically have a whole range of, you know, texture products. Everything from embossed paper for, you know, the really like low relief stuff that you need, to up to, yeah, these full things and everything in between. One of the reasons I would like, you know, at least a 12-inch by 12-inch vacuum former is I would love to make like life-size stone tiles. So you can imagine, like, if you could get a tiling set of this that you can put in your study or bedroom or office or whatever, gaming room. How cool would that be? You could just clad your whole wall with, you know, dungeon bricks or cliff rock, or, you know, that sort of thing. There are products like there are ones that are just like brick and other kind of stone things, but none of them that are really like the cool high fantasy sort of thing that I'd be interested in. But also a foot-by-foot vacuum former means that you could do also tiling, like out-of-the-box wargaming terrain as well. So yeah, who knows? Maybe the Kickstarter will take off and I'll be able to afford to get like an industrial vacuum former, or pay someone to build one for me. Coasters. Yeah, that could totally be a coaster, couldn't it? trying to think of what other material you could also make those kind of things out of. This is another, where'd they go? These guys here. Another set of just classic, you know, square dungeon tiles, right? So these are the kind of things where I could imagine I could do embossed paper, because you can emboss up to like bordering on about 1 millimeter. And so as long as like some of these probably couldn't do, like with these really harsh, you know, bits sticking way up. But I could also imagine, you know, making a toned down version of these that you could do with embossed paper really easily. And even like just printing on, you know, color printing onto thick paper and then embossing, putting that through an embossed roller. So yeah, I'm still exploring all of these options. But you could imagine that at, you know, being useful for all sorts of things. Like I could scale it to HO scale for trains. You know, I could do cobblestone for everything from, you know, World War II dioramas to doll houses, you know. You'd buy them. Yeah, you say that now. Can I get them to a price that is adequate, you know? That's the real question. That's feasible. So right now, like this sheet right here, I experimented with several different resins. I don't know. I'm really stuck on this idea of keeping them flexible so you can do things like wrap them around 2-liter bottles of, you know, basically I want kids to be able to make cool castle dioramas. If they're simple enough to do that, that's great. And then this other thing about making them two-sided, another thing, I need to let that go because that requires them having to be so thick. You know, what is this? That's like 1/4 inch thick. This is so much resin. This is like, I want to say $15 just for the resin. And then using the expanding stuff, the foam it, definitely cheaper, but it's got multiple drawbacks. It's a lot harder to keep the bubbles out, but it does make them a lot lighter, more fun, flexible thing. And yeah, they tile together real nice. You can imagine just like hot gluing these to whatever you want. Yeah, anyway. $30 to $40 a piece individually, and $120 for 5. You think that's reasonable? Wow, I would not think that's reasonable. Well, I mean, I know from my end, like the amount of time spent developing them, the amount of time spent making each individual one, the money required for the molding and and then there's the material that goes in. Like, it all makes sense that it should cost that much, but I don't think it's something that there would be a large enough market of people who could afford that to make it a viable product. However, if there was like a premium range, right? Like, you can buy these fully 3D things that tile together in all these cool ways, and these are the spindy ones. But then there are also the embossed paper that's like a buck or two a sheet, right? I think that's what I would be comfortable with. Painting the closet of shame. Yes, yes. Uh, I agree. I agree. I would love to be able to hit the mass market with it. Like, I would love for this to have at least part of this product range being something that you could imagine getting your middle-aged kid a bunch of textures because they've got a diorama project coming up, and or being, like lower middle class mom who's loves doll houses, but can't afford the brickwork. Well, here's a sheet of paper that you can buy for $2 that will be perfect for the driveway or whatever. I want something that if I went back in time to my kid self and was like, hey, I see that like castle made of cardboard and pop bottles. Glue this stuff to it. And kid me would be like, yeah! Yeah! That's what kid me would be like. If I can make kid me excited, I will have succeeded. Okay. Alright, next step is to let this dry. So I'll come back to this tomorrow. Here, this meeting is adjourned. But while I have a mess, let me do a little bit of carving on these guys too. Hey, Beheader, what are you doing on YouTube? You're not allowed on YouTube. So I got this little template where my buddy Fizz here laser cut this wood for me, and then I glued this sandpaper to it. And the idea is, as I push these through, it gets more and more in line with the exact shape. But I don't want it to fit all the way up and down, just on a slice in the middle. It looks like I'm still having trouble even getting it through here in general. The others are on their way to you as we speak. What others? Like from Lost? Those others? From the completely relevant and remembered by everyone TV series Lost? Oh, the other wood template things. Gotcha. Yeah, so when those get here, what I'll do is I'll basically make a little strip of clay that I put just around the middle, all the way around. Squeeze it into that frame and make sure there's no like daylight between the frame and the side of the thing. And then after that sets, I can pull it out of that, and as long as I don't touch the flat edges, I can get all artistic with how I incorporate that additional stuff in there. Because yeah, you can still see plenty of daylight between there. So we got to get rid of that. No daylight allowed. The stuff that this particular piece is made out of right now, this is freeform air, which I freaking love. I did a video about epoxy clay a couple years ago where I talked about this stuff. So if you're curious about a really good carving, sculpting material for this sort of, just this sort of thing, you should check out that video. what's cool about it is even after it's like pretty well set or completely set, it's still just barely soft enough that you can still get some nice little grit and dings and chips in it with other rocks.
Can I use some of that chicken?
Mm-hmm.
Chicken for salad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch something at 7:30.
Okay. This is like that baby toy where you push the little shapes through the hole. Just on hard mode. It's the Dark Souls of baby toy shaped puzzles because I keep cutting myself on the sandpaper. So this shape, in case you're curious, is designed by AI. Apparently, there was a math paper released recently that talked about how the AI created it, and the thing that makes it special is the fact that it can tile infinitely. What was the thing that was so tricky about it? Like, because like I can't even articulate what is special about it, but I trusted that article that said it was very special enough to go ahead and just try to see if I could make an interesting tiling thing. The trouble with it, I think, because it was designed by AI, it's so counterintuitive to figure out how it attaches together. But there is literally always some way that you can keep it going by, yeah, I don't know. I keep forgetting I need to print out the sheet of paper that had an example where it was tiled like 20 times in every direction. Because, yeah, it's so hard to wrap your brain around it. Maybe when I have 4 pieces, it'll be easier to figure out. Yep. Either a master puzzler or have a nice little diagram next to it. Yeah, look how nicely you can just flake and chip this in ways that look like natural rock. It wants to be a rock so bad. Any chance it gets, they'll be like, yes, I am a rock. I look like this. I look like this when you chip me off. Them robots taking our jobs, making our textures tile for us. What kind of jobs do you do where cheat sheets are helpful? I was recently filling out an instruction manual, more or less, for how to do what I do at my at my job, and oh my God, it's intense. It's a lot, which I think is good because it means I'm valuable. I think so. We had layoffs last year, and I was not one of those laid off, so I must be valuable in some way. Honestly, I think if I died or quit, the game I'm working on would probably cease to exist. Most places I've worked, I could not say that. All places I've ever worked in the past, I could not say that. This is the first time in my career I could say that, with some amount of not being full of hubris. Retail, storage, food, manufacturing. Wow, yeah. A true renaissance. You get bored and want something new? Mm. Yeah. One thing I could say is that never in my career have I ever been bored by work. I've been incredibly frustrated, um, angered, saddened, overjoyed, proud, ashamed. I've had all sorts of emotions when it comes to my work, but never bored. Video games is a hard field to get bored in, I think. Oh, I say that, but I've actually never had to do the duties of a full-time QA. So if I was doing quality assurance in video games, I'll bet I could find a way to be bored by that. So. And then in my free time, I set myself a goal so ridiculously impossible in life that it can never actually be attained. But somehow I've tricked my brain into into thinking it's worthwhile to continue to pursue for the rest of my life. So because I've got an impossible timetable, same result. I'm never bored. Just constantly either working towards my goal or feeling guilty that I'm not working towards my goal at every moment of my life. It's kind of stupid, to be honest, but it does keep me from being bored. So there is that positive. I set a life goal to fail. Absolutely. Step 1, set a goal that you will inevitably fail at. Step 2, be stressed all the time that you can't succeed. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Profit. That's my plan. Yeah, what I find is that the more I try to actually like carve shapes into the rock, like deliberate shapes that I know I want, the less realistic it gets. Like what seems to work best is to just kind of wiggle the chisel in a general direction and then just like twist and pop it up. And then you'll get like a little, what would that be? Not a pock mark, a flake, a crisp. No, none of these words are right. A chip, a ding. A fracture? Not quite fracture either. Oh, right, and I do need to make sure that there are a few touch points where it can sit nicely on the table. Where'd the thing go? I had a nice little metal pin just for that. Here it is. You learn a lot of the time? Yeah, for sure. My sculpting video helped make a sculpture for a friend's birthday, and you never touched clay before then. Wow, that's impressive. That's always fun to hear. So I'll try to keep these places that I marked at that full like flat elevation, And then I can feel free to get creative and carve around them in different ways. One of the things I would also love is if these could like stack in interesting ways or overlap. To create, I don't know, different kinds of, I don't know, I look at this sort of thing, right, where there's these really cool formations that are just like jutting up and out of the ground and stuff, and I don't know if, depending on, I'm gonna have to experiment. I'm gonna just have to experiment. That's all there is to it. See, doing just like a straight line like that, what I find is when I look at my reference, there are definitely straight-ish lines, but any place you can add a little bit of extra chipping around that straight line, the more realistic it starts to look. Find myself slipping into the finer tools, and then I get trapped doing like itty bitty stuff instead of what's better to do at this stage is use the biggest tool you can get away with. As far as efficiency is concerned, that's the best way to approach it. You just kind of have to keep a mental note of all the places you want to come back and get more detailed. Yeah, I'm definitely. I've got more room still, some more room. Well, except for the room size diorama. Uh, I've got all these shelves over here, and then I've got like a backup shelves over there, and then other guys over there. So, but as I start making more dioramas, that's definitely going to start becoming a bigger issue for me. Honestly, not sure what I'm going to do at that point. I mean, my goal is to travel around with my dioramas in a traveling exhibition to conventions, but and so maybe it's just a matter of like they're stored during the part of the year that I'm not traveling, and then I pull them out, putter around in a RV or trailer or whatever for a month or two out of the year. I would love to do that. Oh, Elijah, I would not say that skulls are easy. Uh, I mean, are they easier than doing? They're certainly easier than doing a portrait of like a person. And I guess as a sugar skull, you can get away with a certain amount of stylization, for sure. If you're trying to do a realistic skull, though, those are actually quite tricky. Did you actually sculpt all the little like intricate swirls and dots and all that stuff, or um, did you just paint that on? And I shouldn't say just as if that's like way easier or something, but all right, Dottie. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you have a good night's sleep, and maybe we'll catch you again soon. I'm kind of thinking what I want to do is like do my normal Twitch schedule, which is Wednesdays and Sundays, and then if I'm working anyway, what I normally do is I just stream on Twitch, randomly whenever that extra time is. But I may see what happens if I switch those streams to YouTube, how that ends up working out. That way I kind of split across two platforms more evenly. Because now that I'm, kind of given up on the idea of a YouTube video every month, like clockwork, and instead being sane, slightly more sane. I would love to get more content on YouTube in general, and streams are not my favorite way to make content, but it's maybe better than nothing. We'll see. We'll see what the algorithm thinks. O mighty algorithm, what thinkest thou? Dost thou blessest me with thine good graces? Look at me moving my fingers away from where the chisel is inevitably gonna fly. Like a pro. Oh, interesting. Carving into semi-dry clay. That sounds cool. Yeah, I'm fairly new to carving, like with chisels and stuff. It was really once I started getting a lot more into epoxy clays that I learned the value of it. So there's all sorts of techniques and tools and tricks that I am still ignorant of and slowly picking up as I go. Not to mention techniques to avoid slicing my finger off. That's a nice little chunk. I like that. Learning to sharpen my chisels. Yeah, I recently bought a chisel sharpening metal thing, and now I have this. And I don't know the right way to do it. I was looking at the instructions. I also have a little like wheelie gizmo that you're supposed to be able to insert your thing into. I don't know where my wheelie gizmo went. Yeah, so I got this diamond sharpening card. And I can't remember. I think you're supposed to do it this way, right? With the thing going like so. But like, I'm not sure if I should be wetting it or oiling it. I'm sure I could look up a tutorial, huh? Wet/oil. Both sides to hone the blade. Don't do it dry. Okay. What about milk? Can I wet it with milk? Like Durham's rock putty wants me to use? It still blows my mind. I Just I can't even with that. Maybe. I'm hearing a solid maybe. Definitely maybe. Pretty good Bjork song with that. Is that what it's called? Definitely maybe? Might be. Definitely might be called that. Possibly maybe. No, I'm thinking of a Ren and Stimpy song. That is definitely maybe. Am I? No, I'm thinking of a Bjork song, and the video has Ren and Stimpy in it. That's what I'm thinking of. That's a thing, isn't it? Vikings spitting on their sharpening stones. Could be a thing. I think the song is called Possibly Maybe. And I do think she did a music video guest starring Ren and Stimpy. I'm almost certain that I did not just make this up in a fever dream. But it is also the kind of thing that you would make up in a fever dream. To be fair. Oh, fizz. Naughty. Yeah, I don't think this is helping. This texture that I have in here is where I took a positive that I had sculpted on the other side. When I pulled out this XPS plug, I pressed it into the back, which meant that all the bumps ended up, or all the cracks ended up being raised bumps. And I just, like, you'll see that every once in a while in stone where, like, there was, I think it's called an inclusion, where there's softer rock kind of gluing together harder rock. No, other way around. Harder rock gluing together softer rock. The softer rock erodes away and it leaves like these weird little, like raised ridges. But that's definitely not super common. skimmed the possibly maybe video and there's no Ren and Stimpy? What? Okay. Do me a favor and Google Bjork Ren and Stimpy. And just tell me if I'm insane. There has to be some song, some video that they are in of hers. I'm sure this is a thing. Please don't let me be insane. Had to be from the like early to mid 90s. I guess it could have been as late as the late 90s. Definitely 90s. Possibly maybe the 90s. All right, Bill Haley. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chatting. Have a good night. I Miss You. Yes, that's the one. My next guess was going to be Army of Me, but no. I Miss You. Also a fever dream of a video. Well, thank you for confirming that I'm not absolutely daft. I'm only partially that way. Similar songs, to be fair. I think if I remember, I definitely possibly remember possibly maybe the way that song goes. I'm trying to put a tune to I Miss You. Unfortunately, not allowed to play it on YouTube. I will lose my liquor license if I do that. And I will no longer be allowed to lick her. Her being Bjork, of course. I have a license to lick her. She usually tastes like gumballs. But sometimes she tastes like swan feathers. You never know. Never know with her. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Bjork. Like, some of her albums are too bewildering for me. Like, especially the early 2000s one, maybe mid 2000s as well, where she got like really into hyper minimalist and it was like no instruments, all voices and stuff like that. But definitely her 90s stuff. I'm a big fan. Like honestly, one of my favorite albums, not just of hers, but favorite albums, period, is Homogenic. Super creative powerhouse, that woman. Yeah, exactly. Like it would be such an amazing feature to just have it where there's a like built-in advertising revenue, like even a revenue splitting thing would be something. Obviously, they have the AI to recognize it. Just if they had a deal with all the copyright holders where it's like, if we recognize this, we automatically put a little ad to take you to buy the music, like just auto create a link, make it clear where it's coming from, where you can get it. It seems like such an easy win-win situation for everyone. But I'm sure there's some crazy complicated reason why that can't be. Why we can't have nice things. I still, on a regular basis, get copyright notifications in my email for all the streams that I uploaded from years ago, like 5+ years ago, where I would do a Twitch stream and then upload it to YouTube. And, I was playing mostly like indie stuff that no one has ever heard of. But, throughout the years, every possible piece of music that's ever been made by anyone, no matter how obscure, is getting gobbled up by some entity or another. And probably pays for itself because they get, a couple pennies here and there from miscellaneous random YouTubers who have used their music from time to time. Yeah, I don't know how TikTok's like back end business dealings actually work. It's bizarre to me that they just they did something that you could look up virtually any song and put it on your video. It's like, how are all the other companies so far behind that? Like there's not even a subset of regular music you can use. That's not true. I think YouTube got like some very modest amount of music that you're allowed to use now. But, the chances of it being the thing you actually want or like are so small. Yeah, I recently started a TikTok because my son kept nagging me to do it. I feel like they have some kind of algorithm that you've got a pretty good chance of having like a pretty huge um, like I think their algorithm boosts new users to some ridiculous degree, so you have a pretty good chance of having a viral sort of hit, which keeps you keeps you going, keep you wanting to try to reach that again. Because yeah, within like 2 days, I had a video that got 101.7 million views or something. Hey, tomorrow, kiddo. Good to see you again. Good morning. How are you doing on this fall day? This beautiful fall day, or is it called autumn in Australia? Autumn indeed. I was tempted to try to say the word autumn in my terrible Australian accent, but I chickened out at the last minute. Because I said it in my head, and it's literally just the word atom, and I know that's not right. What part of Australia are you in? You're not up north, are you? Like, it doesn't get too hot in like the two major cities, right? In Adelaide or Sydney, or sorry, three, Melbourne. Don't forget Melbourne. There you go. That was my attempt at Australian accent for the night. Oh, okay. So you're up there. You're up there enough to get some of that hot heat, huh? Okay. 113 is unpleasant, unacceptable. That's what I say. Put my foot down at 112. That's where it stops. Once you get to 113, that's a bridge too far. Is that close to Gold Coast? Who do I know who lived in Gold Coast? Someone. $122 in the middle, as in like middle of the continent, right? Is Gold Coast north or south of you? A day drive away? Okay, so I'm guessing it must be north. Because if you drove a day south, you'd end up in Tasmania, right? I mean, you'd have to be going really fast to like skip over the water there, but that's where you'd end up, I feel like. I swear whoever I knew who lived in Gold Coast, they told me they were approximately in the middle of, like on the coast. Hopefully on the coast with a name like Gold Coast. On the coast and about like halfway up, which is what you were describing, which is why I thought maybe it was there. But maybe they meant halfway between like on a east-west axis and not a north-south axis like I was thinking. I hope I'm not just remembering the movie Australia with Hugh Jackman and Nicole Kidman. Was that located in Gold Coast? Is that what I'm getting confused by? Hold on, this is bothering me so much. I have to look it up now. In Queensland, okay. Yeah, that's like that's halfway up the continent. Okay, but that's an entire day's drive away from you, huh? I'm trying to make the shapes of these like secondary shapes um, kind of be linear misdirections of the border lines so that when these things are pressed together, it's not so evident that there's these long, like straight lines. So the more I can misdirect your eye to like follow a flow that travels through one of these lines, I think the better. In the UK, you drove for 11 hours straight. Yeah, I did a couple of those kinds of drives. I drove from Seattle into the interior of Alaska in one 24-hour drive once. My son was like, he had just been born, so he was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months old, and we did not we probably couldn't afford a hotel to begin with, and did not want to have to deal with, you know, all that's involved with the logistics of a newborn on that drive. We were going up to see in-laws, her parents, who lived in North Pole, Alaska, and yeah, literally 24 hours straight driving. That was probably irresponsible, but you know, I was like 20, so what do you expect? What do you expect from a 20-year-old? My frontal lobe wasn't even fully developed. Perfect time to have kids. But you know, when you're engaged at 16 and married at 18, you got to get on that kid thing ASAP. I've not seen the North Pole. I've seen a pole in the town of North Pole, Alaska, outside of the Santa Claus house, which is where I had some of my jewelry on sale on commission there. The Some of the people that went to our church owned the Santa Claus house. Made a pretty penny off of that. He was like the town rich guy. You know, a town of, I think it was about 3,000 when we lived there. So, you know, not like the tiniest thing. You know, we had like 1.5 fast food joints. Maybe 2.5. Because I think we had a McDonald's. I worked at that McDonald's. I think we got a Taco Bell at some point, and then probably also a Subway sandwich, which I count as half. Canberra and back. Medieval tourney and feast. 30-hour round trip. Wow, that's a huge drive. Did you run into Shad? Mr. Shad from Shadiversity? I keep waiting for him to build those castles on his land. Pre-children, 22 years ago. Okay. Yeah, he could have been kicking around then. God, when was pre-children for me? That was 1996. The first half of 1996 was my last PC era. Although I'm kind of like AC at this point, since they're, you know, both grown and mostly not relying on me. You just now realized who Shad I was talking about is, Tomokido? I mean, I figure Australia, medieval, those two things going together equal a Shad, so. I've been watching his videos uh, for like 7 or 8 years. So he had some really good stuff about like castle design and like logistics of medieval life, and that sort of thing is really good from a world building perspective for my books and stuff. I recently unsubscribed to him because he's like more and more turning into an unhinged right winger commentator type instead of the kind of content that I enjoy. I am still sub to his brother though, although he makes less and less stuff I like too. The wow, now I can't think of his name. Huge art YouTuber. He's got like is it 5 million subs? I made a video where I was talking about the best YouTube artists, and he was on it, and suddenly I can't remember his name. Ah. Jazza, that's the one, thank you. I feel like this is not. Yeah, I need another big old bumpy lump right there. I guess I can add that once I add the edging. Yeah, I mean, you need fighters on the left and the right flank, right? It's you gotta keep things even. Yeah, I think I get particularly like annoyed with the sort of grievance politics of like just generally not liking the way the culture's going and then finding a way to make it seem like it's the end of civilization because of it. And I'm probably particularly prone to being annoyed because I used to be that exact person who made all those exact arguments. So, like, old Josh, stop it. Stop it. the thing that reminded of him, me of him recently is there's a left wing, media critic, YouTuber guy, who was talking about a lot of various right wing YouTubers having weird takes about the Mario movie. And he was playing some clips from, what's his face? Shad's like second channel where he does more of his, political diatribes. Um, and his takes were just so weird and so bad. Uh, and it was like, okay, fine, you can have weird bad takes. But then when he saw that video that there, I don't know, it was like a 10-second clip of him in that video along with a bunch of other people. Um, Shad released like an hour and a half long, rebuttal video about how this YouTuber was lying and like all his thumbnails are so like clickbaity and obnoxious now, and it was just too painful. I couldn't take it anymore, so I unsubscribed. Unsubscribe. I'm sure I'm fallen into the trap of becoming just as narrow-minded, but on the other side. You know how humans are. Humans and their pesky brains. Okay. This one I think is a lot closer. Oh yeah, first let's establish our touch points. Let's go here. Actually, it'd be better to have a touch point that's inverted. Yeah, inverted from where there's not a touch point on that side, I think. All right, Elijah. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good rest of your day. And I hope to talk to you again. apparently not live on your Twitch. What now? Chisel slip, slice on your thumb. Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid that one. I had a beautiful, massive scar going across here, but that was from a Dremel tool saw attachment that was like that big. I did have a slip earlier tonight and got a little bit of a nick right there, but I'm healing nicely, so. I'm learning. Don't remove the cover, as in just never take it out of the box. That's the safest way to avoid injuries from the Dremel tool. This whole thing being like a thin little nubbin coming up out of there, I'm not a fan of that. But I suppose if it's fairly low, then it would naturally do this kind of stair step thing and be okay, because it would be sort of part of a larger piece. Sure, piece. Larger rock piece. Give rock piece a chance. A mini clover iron. What is that for? Does blades come with a cover? I don't know. Not the one I have. It's just literally like it looks like a table saw blade. It's like that big and goes. It's not from Dremel. I don't think Dremel would approve. I think it's not a safe attachment. Yeah, that's true. Sometimes tool guards make it extra awkward. I'm trying to remember what I was doing. I was trying to do something on on my Skola bust, and I think I was pulling, like I had the Dremel like this, and I was holding the sculpture, and I was having to like push through the sculpture, and then it like, bumped away or whatever and went. I think it was 5 or 6 stitches, and I still don't have complete feeling in my thumb to this day. That was several years ago. But I did get a hilarious picture out of it because it made like a funny little, almost like a smile, and so I put 2 little googly eyes on the tip of my thumb, and yeah, that was cute. Flattening fabrics. A 1/8 scale, like a little iron on a wand. Huh. And plastic fabric from an old umbrella, glued it to cardboard, and voila! A1 art folder in 1/8 scale. Okay. Interesting. I'm trying to think what I would ever use something like that for. You're on my Twitch too? Wait, am I also streaming to Twitch? I should not be on Twitch. Okay, I'm not streaming on Twitch. You scared me, because that would be against terms of service. So what do you mean that you are on my Twitch? Oh. You've got your little avatar there. That's a good question. Yeah, I was actually wondering about that, like how I could get commenters on YouTube to show up there, because I know how to do it for Twitch, but I don't know how to do it for YouTube. I guess you're lucky. You get to be a little Zelda bat. Congrats. Fizz, see if you could get an avatar up. What do you have to do that? Can you go to my channel even though I'm not broadcasting and comment? I want to know how that happens. You put the pics of the folder on Discord. Ah, interesting. So, wait, but that does not make any sense. How would, like, Discord listens for Twitch? But does Twitch listen to Discord? You signed into Twitch, okay. Oh, look at that little chair and binder and folder and art portfolio thingy. That's awesome. Sign into Twitch. Fizz, sign into Twitch. See what happens. Yeah, now you're gone. I guess you had your moment in the sun. You flew too close to the sun. Your wings melted off. Rip. My video's out of sync? On YouTube too? Come on. Give me a break. Can't be free of technical issues everywhere. Everywhere I must be continually hounded by technical shenanigans. Apparently that is my lot in life. It is to suffer like C-3PO. No, I don't. The cameras aren't hooked up through those long cables anymore. They are now short cables going directly into the computer. Oh man, it's already past 8:30. I still need to take a shower, make dinner. I gotta call it. Since I'm out of sync anyway, who cares? You won't even know. I'll be gone before you've even heard this. All right, thanks everyone for joining and for this little